Hello students, today is August the 14th, 2015, and it's Tuesday, and here are your announcements. I'm not actually going to do any announcements today, they're the same as yesterday, but I did want to address some emails that I've gotten from students today. They all came today. It was kind of weird, but I got some different emails about some concerns with the workload that they have at TOPS and how that compares to brick and mortar schools. And so I thought I would just address the entire student body directly about that and be kind of proactive with it. First of all, I want any student who ever has a question or concern to just email me and we can talk about it. I don't know, I like doing that. It's really, I don't know. I just like having conversations with students, and I feel like students are taking a big step towards growing up and advocating for themselves if they can, send their principal an email and say, hey, I have a problem with this. And I think that's always great. I never think that that's disrespectful. I never think that that's rude. I just think that's how, you have to learn to advocate for yourself and stand up for yourself and to express your mind. I don't think that you should ever be in fear of authority figures ever in your life. I think you should be to learn to stand up for yourself to authority figures as long as you do it in a respectful way, and that's the way it's been done here. To address that specific concern about the amount of work, one thing that I've done today, because I felt like, when I get stuff like this, I don't just toss it aside and not listen to it. I investigate it fully. And so what I did today is went through, these students were all in the same three classes, and I went through the same three classes of work. And what I determined is at most, these students would have to do anywhere between 18 to 24 hours of work this week. Now, brick and mortar students have to be in school a bare minimum of 32 hours a week. If you throw in homework which is for most schools up here in Northeast Tennessee, you would probably get about 2 hours of homework a night if you actually do what you're supposed to do. So there's about 42 hours a week of actual time that you're dedicating to school. What we are bound to do by the state of Tennessee is to provide students with an equal education. We're not satisfied with that. We want to give you equal or better education. And so strategically, what we've done when we've designed our classes at TOPS, we've designed our classes to have every bit of the curriculum in them. Because we don't have snow days, we don't have pep rallies, we don't have bomb threats, we don't have any of that stuff that takes time away from regular brick and mortar school. So we're able to give you every single bit of everything that we're supposed to give you. And so adding it up, we're looking at between 6.5 to 8 hours per week per class. If you have 3 classes, that's going to be around 24 hours, and between 18 and 24 hours. And if you have 4 classes, it's going to be about 30 to 35 hours, which in our view, you're still spending less time on school than brick and mortar students. Now, I'm not referring to any of the people who emailed me today, but one thing that I've noticed in 3 years of running the school is that students have typically, who get behind, who struggle, who get stressed out, have bad habits. And those bad habits are not starting the work at the beginning of the week, not organizing the work, they just jump from one thing to another, not setting a schedule for themselves and sticking to it, and not giving the appropriate amount of time. A lot of that, to me, stems from a perception, and that perception is that, oh, I'm doing online school, it should be easier. Well, it shouldn't be. If we made it, there would be no point in having a school if we were going to make it real easy and you didn't get anything out of it. So that's why, another reason why is we don't have any kind of what I would call a deadwood teacher at this school, the kind of teacher where you go into their class and watch videos the whole time. Every teacher at this school is highly effective, as determined by the state of Tennessee. Every teacher at this school is like really kid-centered. So, and that's what I look for when I hire people, are people who love students and want to do what's best for them. So they have that in mind, so they're not going to shortchange you in education. And furthermore, the teachers at this school are achievement minded. They want you to do really well in your test. When you do really well in your test, it makes them look good. It means that you learned a lot that you were supposed to learn. And it also means that they can feel good because they have that on their record. And while we don't consider the EOC test the be-all and end-all of anything, the state does. And what we consider the be-all and end-all of everything is your education. So you'll notice when you take a class like mythology or contemporary issues or world history, something that doesn't have an end-of-course test, we take it just as seriously as we do a course that does have an end-of-course test. So everybody at this school, all of the adults at this school, really have your best interest in mind. And that's why the courses are designed the way they are. That's why the work total is what it is. Now, you can look at the number of assignments and kind of freak out. Like in biology, I think there's 7 assignments this week. But when I went through them, many of them were like 20-minute, 30-minute at the most, and that's being generous. Most of them are like 15-minute assignments that need to be done to kind of set the stage for some of the more lengthy assignments like the labs and so forth. And biology is tested, and there's a lot of stuff in there, and it takes a lot of time to get through it all. And that's just why it's done the way it's done. Another issue I think many of you have that never even occurred to me until today is that your conception of high school is based on traditional scheduling, like where you take 6 or 7 classes or 8 classes even, and the classes last the entire year. Well, we're on a block schedule, and that's what, in Northeast Tennessee at least, that's what pretty much everybody is on up here. I know that's the case in East Tennessee and a lot of places in Middle and West, but when you have block scheduling, you're only in 3 or 4 classes, and the workload is much, much heavier. And maybe there's, if you've been around and you have older siblings who went to traditional high school, it's easy to feel like we have a lot more work than they do, but you're not taking into consideration that on a traditional schedule you have less work, but you have less work and more classes, so it kind of all evens out. Again, I encourage you to email me with anything like this, like if you're concerned, and I will listen to it. And definitely every summer, our teachers and I, we all sit down together and go over your survey data and any kind of emails like this I've gotten, and we really take it into consideration. But there were so many people emailing me about how much work that they had. I really felt like I needed to address it with everybody, because I figure if 3 people are saying it to me, then like 20 people are probably thinking it. And it's really not I don't think it's a justifiable thing to say that we give too much work. I think it's justifiable to say that some people are maybe spending too long on certain assignments, or students are not scheduling themselves in a way that makes it doable. And that doesn't apply to the people that sent me this email. I've already responded to you. I'm just saying this to the general student body. It's what I see every day. So, my advice to anybody who feels overwhelmed with the amount of work is to talk to your teacher during their office hours about how much work you have, and get some strategies from them to get it accomplished if you're not able to. And that's the great thing about TOPS, is we give you flexibility of time. And we also have live, breathing human beings who are going to answer your questions and who are going to help you and who are going to really work with you to help you get your work done. And so take advantage of that, please. Again, my door is always open. Please ask me questions. And, when I send out those surveys, take them seriously and say exactly what you want to say. We always listen to them. But one thing that we will not do at TOPS ever is lower our standards. We're not gonna turn ourselves into a weaker, lesser high school ever. We're gonna stay as strong as we are. And I hope that doesn't scare anybody off. I hope that makes you proud of the school you go to. We're the highest performing virtual school in the state. And there's a reason for that. And high standards are the reason. And I will never lower those, ever. Does that mean that you'll never have less work? Well, different classes have different amounts of work. But as long as I'm the principal of the school, we're going to have high standards. And you should be proud of that, because you are living up to those standards, especially those of you who are doing really well. But that's all I have to say. If you have any questions, please let me know. Hope you all have a great day.